Hey, this is Amar. In this video, I'll be talking to you about the emotional body and the mental body. How these two aspects of our humanness control a lot of how we interact with the world, how we interact with one another, and really the quality of our lives. So when you begin to understand these two bodies, we can begin to see how maybe one is more dominant and why we need to create balance between the two. And by having balance between the mental and the emotional bodies, we can live in a more fulfilling kind of way. So hopefully I can help you understand this. The first thing I'd like to help you see is that we're made up of a number of different bodies. Let's start with these four first. And they are based on a scale of what's most physically dense to subtle. So first of all, we have the physical body, skin, bones, very physical. Then we have an energy body. Then we have an emotional body. Finally, on this scale, we have a mental body. So the mental body is our thoughts. That's not very physical. It's just, could call it an energy, I guess. So it goes from dense, physically dense, to just some form of energy. The ones I'm concerned with here are, of course, the emotional body and the mental body, and how these really control the way we live. So let's look at the mental body first. The mental body is kind of what is quite dominant in human beings right in today's day and age. It's what helps us think, conceptualize, make things logical, willpower, discipline, all of these things, even the ego, we could say, is developed from the mental body. And that is great. It serves a purpose. It helps us in so many ways. There's no question about that. But if you haven't already caught on, the mental body is potentially overpowered. We're too much in our heads. On the opposite side, we have the emotional body. This is a system which allows us to experience, process, and manage our emotions. And if this system is underdeveloped in some way, then we are more likely to suffer or struggle with emotional problems, even things such as anxiety and depression. They are rooted in emotional dysfunction. So if our emotional body is underdeveloped, then we are more likely to suffer. Some of the reasons an emotional body may be underdeveloped or not mature is usually it's something that happens during the early stages of life. Some trauma, some negative situations cause a young person to kind of emotionally shut off because the emotional pain is too much to face. They can't process it. And the only thing at that age we realize to do is to kind of shut off from it. Push the feelings away. And that stunts the development of the emotional body. Because we can't process the emotion. The emotional body the emotional body will develop via us processing and managing our emotions. Now, if someone goes through life, the early part of their life, and they have no traumas or no negative situations as such, they are more likely to develop a healthy emotional body. So difficult emotions come up and they've learned how to manage them and process them. And these people are more likely to grow up to have healthy emotions, healthier relationships, generally have a healthier sense of self, generally speaking. But these people are few and far between. Most of us fall into the other category where our emotional bodies are not fully developed. because we haven't been facing the emotions, the painful stuff that we needed to face to allow the emotional body to develop to its fullest capacity. And because it wasn't able to develop in its fullest capacity, we kind of hopped on board to the mental body and overemphasized that and created a huge ego that would protect our emotional body from being wounded or hurt again. And this is where a big ego comes from, around protection, protecting them emotional wounds. So we could say the ego is born out of the emotional body, but it's very much part of the mental body. The foundation is in the emotional body, but the rest of the whole thing is built around the mental body. It's all thinking, logical stuff. So really, by working with the emotions, we can take the whole foundation out. We can develop a healthier foundation. Change the whole foundation, which will make it easier for us to then change the mental body on top of that. So how do we go about doing this? One way, which I talk about quite a lot on this channel, is to feel painful emotions. There's a famous quote that I'm hearing a lot now, and it says, feeling it is healing it. Every time you experience a difficult emotion, be with it as much as you possibly can. Feeling it is healing it. That, I believe, teaches our emotional body and ourselves how to process and be with these difficult emotions. Hopefully, that will help us develop a healthier emotional body. Now, I'm not sure how much we can develop our emotional body if it has been stunted at an earlier part of our lives. But I do like to believe that we can develop it quite a lot. But it's something that takes time, and this is why we need to do these exercises. Something else we can do is something like yoga. Really stretching the body and allowing space into the places we feel resistance. Because the places we feel resistance, we probably have some old emotional and energetic stuff there. So it's really about opening up and allowing these things to come to the surface, processing them, being with them. Gradually, we'll hopefully start to develop this healthier emotional body and create more of a balance between the mental and the emotional body. The mental body is absolutely necessary. I'm not saying it isn't. We need it. Like willpower and discipline are great virtues that I really believe in. But when we're too much in our heads and don't have enough of the emotional health, then we suffer. This is the problem. Now we've got technology. We're all in our heads too much. We're losing the capacity to connect emotionally. And this is especially damaging for people who didn't have that capacity to begin with. They're becoming more shut off than ever before. And the quality of your emotional health is reflected in the number of quality relationships that you have. It's the clearest way of knowing how emotionally healthy you are. It's a clear indicator. So I hope that kind of makes sense, and I think this is very important work for almost everyone to do. We want to bring that emotional body up so it's on par with the mental body. So if you're someone who's very much in their head all the time, very logical and thinking, then maybe you need to soften that up a little bit and take that energy and use that energy to nurture more of this emotional body. Develop a stronger connection with that part of you. Allow yourself to feel and express feelings, emotions, and you'll find more richness of life there. Okay, so that is everything I wanted to talk about on this subject. If you have anything to add about anything I've shared or anything you would like to share with me, you know what to do. Hit me up in the comments. Otherwise, if you did like the video, if you could please go ahead, give it a thumbs up, share it with your homies if you think they need to hear this message. Subscribe to the channel and remember to hit that bell notification. Otherwise, until next time, remember to keep living free and being free. Thank you.